I want you to imagine that I have several different clones of who you are, and I took these clones and spread them across the world. Is it fair to say that these individuals are going to have a relatively different human experience? Yes or no? Just based off of the character of who you are, based off of the personality of who you are, how you interact with people, how you merge within society. Do you think that these people are going to have a relatively different experience? The answer is yes. Of course, they're going to have relatively different experiences. And why is that? Because when you start to factor in that you have different characters, different cultures, different ways of life, different ways of thinking, when you understand that that is being indoctrinated into you every single day, that's going to drive your feelings towards certain situations and it's going to drive your actions towards certain situations. I can give you guys an example right now. If you were to look at Japan's dating scene, you will realize that a lot of their dating scenes has to deal with the fact that a lot of their men and women are still stuck on the I have to make the I like you some type of huge presentation, right? I have to give her a note to tell her to meet me somewhere, then go to some place and then announce my love for her and all this other stuff. Believe it or not, that's not something that's only in movies. That's actually how a lot of them believe that has to go. Now, of course, there's always going to be your rebels. There's always going to be those people who think outside the box. But again, we're talking about the majority, not the minority. And when it comes to majority, a lot of them still think that way. Versus here in America, the process is completely different, as I'm sure that you know. And I'm sure it's slightly different in Europe. I'm sure it's slightly different in Latin America. I'm sure it's slightly different in Africa. And so while we all have this universal human experience, there once we start to build on top of it, we're realizing that these things are different. So MD, why are you telling me these things? Because as you start to transition from boyhood to manhood, as you start to transition into a much more professional version of yourself, as you start to settle in into who you are and you're building the very thing that you want, you're going to have to realize that as you build, the more that you build, the more people that you're going to run into that either think the same way that you do or they think in the complete opposite way that you do. And if you would be a fool to allow the opinions and values of other people to penetrate your internal world or your personal domain simply because these other people do not like it. You must protect your personal domain. You must protect your inner world. Just because the people around you may not like it, just because the people around you do not benefit from it, doesn't mean that what you are building is wrong. It simply means that you are in the wrong space. Now, again, you may not be to the extreme as me to where you feel like you have to switch countries. For some of you, maybe you just have to switch towns. You don't even have to leave your state. Maybe it's just a different town you need to go to. Maybe it's a different state that you need to go to. For some of you, maybe it's a different country that you need to go to, a different nation that you need to go to. But understand something. When you are in a specific place, you are indoctrinated for better or for worse into the customs and cultures of that area. And what you start to realize as you get older, as you start to transition into who you really are, you start to realize that, you know what, I honestly don't believe in a lot of the things that these people are telling me to believe in. Now, most people back in the old days, you were stuck. You had no idea that societies think completely differently outside of yourself that you're comfortable with exploring, maybe even going to different towns. Back in the day, and you can see this like in old movies and things, when a person would leave their hometown to go to a different city, they made that a huge deal. A huge deal. Their families would all come together. They would throw a going away party. Their friends and the community would come. It was a huge deal because nobody did that. Nowadays, it's almost expected of you to switch states, switch cities, especially if you're talking about things like employment. We're like, yeah, nobody, your closest friends and family might come together and wish you goodbye, but it's not going to be some huge ordeal because it's personalized now. And so again, whenever you are building the thing that you ultimately ask for yourself, you ask yourself, is this the right environment for the thing that I am trying to build? Yes or no? Are these the right friends that I need to have that's going to help me build this thing? Yes or no? Are these the right people that have the right mindset that's going to nurture the very thing that I'm going to build? Yes or no? And this is where we start to get very technical and much more understanding of our life situation, because a lot of you have made the decision to say, you know what, I'm going to be my own leader of my life. I'm going to make sure I go out and get what is rightfully mine. I'm going to build something worthwhile, not only for myself, but my future family and my future community. And you have been met with so much resistance, so much pushback, so many people who are trying to get you to do the opposite, that you think that these people are against you, when in reality, these people are trying to show you that you cannot do that here. Not as a challenge, like I bet you can't do that here, but more as a warning that says, if you try to construct this here, you will always fight an uphill battle. And that's extremely important for you to recognize, because I don't care what anybody says. Anybody who is a positive person, you're naturally optimistic, you're naturally this, you're naturally that. Once you get around a group of people who are the complete opposite, they will take that energy. They will drain that energy, and you will slowly but surely become one of those individuals. And if you don't believe me, well, I'm not really asking you to. This has been proven many times and times again, so much so that we even have sayings for it. Birds of a feather flock together. If you're around the five broke people, I'm guessing you're the sixth one, right? You get through people, or you're able to level up through osmosis, right? There's so many different scientific and woo-woo spiritual things that are pretty much telling you the same message, that if you want to grow and thrive in the energy that you're cultivating, you have to get in the right environment that takes that energy and adds to it, takes that energy and grows to it. And again, these are things that you start to learn over time. One of the things that I've recognized is I myself may not be a clean freak to where I'm cleaning up everything every single day. However, I do value a clean environment. And it's very important to get around people who also think the same way. One of the things I noticed when I was younger is when you go over to poorer neighborhoods, more low income neighborhoods, you're going to realize that it's a lot dirtier. Not only is there trash everywhere, the sidewalks are broken up and cracked. People are eating things and throwing things out the window, littering, because they do not care. And it's honestly a reflection of the very people who live in that environment. However, when you start to go to more richer areas, you start to realize that it's a lot cleaner than the neighborhoods that are of low income. Now, many people can argue like, oh, because they have money and they hire cleaners and whatever. However, you have to understand that it's a mentality difference. The difference is, over here, I throw my trash out the window because I don't care. It's already trash anyway. It's not my responsibility. It's not in my house. Versus over on the other side, they may say, hey, listen, a lot of us aren't clean, but it would be smart of us to put our money together to employ people to make sure that this area stays clean. And that's the real difference. It's simply a mentality. You may even go to certain countries to where the entire country is clean just because of the people have gotten together and said, you know what? If there's one thing that we all value is our cleanliness. I've heard in some countries that when you walk around, they don't have trash cans, which I think is absolutely absurd. But again, their streets are still clean. How is that? Because the mentality of the people, the mentality of the average person is what I should say. The mentality of the average person says, you know what? I value clean streets. I don't want to be a nuisance. I don't want to be a person that breaks the status quo of cleanliness. And again, if I was raised in that environment, that would be a part of myself that gets fulfilled every single day. And I would have no idea why I feel this sense of fulfillment. But the more that I go through personal development, which is having the relationship with yourself, I realize the reason why I like this place is because it's always clean. And sometimes it takes going into the opposite environment, going into a disgusting, dirty, filthy, sloppy environment for that to trigger within you to say, you know what, I know the type of person I am, and this is not it at all. And so when you're going on your journey, you're going to find a lot of people who think the complete opposite of you. And they may be bold enough to give you their useless opinions. But I want you to understand that whenever, as long as you understand what it is that you are building, what it is that you are going towards, that's all that matters. People are always going to say things, whether you do something or you don't do something. So you might as well do the things that are going to put yourself, your family, your community in the best position possible. So that's all I have for you guys today. Listen, if you like this video, like the video. If you made it this far, type down below, say made it this far, and let me know what I should work on next. I appreciate you guys for rocking with me this far, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, peace out.